Let us start from aromatic electrophilic substitution reactions of haloarenes. I have considered the structure of chlorobenzene. ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಬರೆದಿದೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಯಿತು ಅವರೇ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಡ್ ತಪ್ಪೋಯ್ತಲ್ಲಿ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್. Let us start from aromatic electrophilic substitution reactions of haloarenes. Before going to individual reactions, let's just concentrate on the structure of chlorobenzene. You know that the chlorine atom is more electronegative than carbon. That's why chlorine atom exerts -I effect. Because of -I effect, the electron density on the benzene ring of chlorobenzene decreases. Or in other words, I can say that the benzene ring of chlorobenzene is deactivated towards electrophilic substitution reactions. It's because when you say electrophilic substitution reaction, electrophile, which is electron deficient species, must attack. It will attack easily only when the electron density in the substrate molecule is higher. But just now I told you, because of -I effect of chlorine atom, the electron density on the benzene ring is reduced. That's why we say the benzene ring is partially deactivated towards electrophilic substitution reactions because of -I effect of chlorine atom. On the other hand, the same chlorine atom exerts what is called +R effect. The resonating structures for +R effect I have represented here. In these resonating structures, you can make out that the electron density is relatively higher at 2 ortho positions and 1 para position. That's why the new entering electrophile can attach itself either to ortho positions or to para position. That's why we say the halogen atom in this case is ortho and para directing. So 2 points we are supposed to know. Point number 1, the chlorine atom, in general halogen atom, is a deactivating group because of -I effect. But the same halogen atom is ortho and para directing because of +R effect. Now we shall consider few electrophilic substitution reactions of chlorobenzene one by one. The first reaction we consider is chlorination. I start from chlorobenzene. I'll consider 2 molecules of chlorobenzene. It will react with 2 molecules of chlorine, and reaction is carried out in the presence of halogen carrier like anhydrous ferric chloride. And just now I have told you that the chloro group is ortho-para directing. So in the first case, let us say the chloro group enters on the para position, and the chloro group can also enter on ortho position, and in addition to that, the byproduct formed is 2 molecules of HCl. Or in other words, how to show this? You have a single bond H here and you have single bond H here. Instead of writing 2 moles of Cl2 like this, I'll write it as 2 Cl single bond Cl. So in one case, this hydrogen will go with the 1 chlorine here, and in the same way, this hydrogen will go with 1 more chlorine atom of another chlorine molecule. So 2 moles of HCl are removed. And here the product obtained is para-dichlorobenzene. Or if you consider IUPAC name, it is a 1,4 dichlorobenzene. And para isomer being more stable, this is the major product. And the minor product is ortho-dichlorobenzene. It is also called 1,2-dichlorobenzene, IUPAC name. And ortho isomer is less stable than para isomer. That's why this is the minor product. The next reaction we consider is nitration. For nitration, again, I'll consider 2 moles of chlorobenzene. And all of you know that the reagent used for nitration when the substrate is not so reactive is nitrating mixture. When you say nitrating mixture, all of you are aware it is a mixture of concentrated nitric acid and concentrated sulfuric acid. Since the substrate is unreactive, you need to heat it. And this mixture, whatever I'm using, is called nitrating mixture. As you know, chloro group is ortho and para directing. The newly entering electrophile NO2 plus has to go to ortho and para position. So corresponding products would be this is 4-nitro So this compound is 1-chloro-4-nitro-benzene. Similarly, this is 1-chloro-2-nitro-benzene. As usual, this para isomer is the major product. How do I show the reaction? Just like in the previous case, I'll consider hydrogen atoms at ortho and para position. So from here hydrogen will go, from nitric acid OH minus will go. So here again hydrogen will go in the form of H plus. Here again one more OH minus will go. So we have to get 2 molecules of water. The third reaction we consider under this heading is sulfonation. Again, I start from 2 moles of chlorobenzene. You know, the sulfonating agent is a concentrated sulfuric acid. When you make use of concentrated sulfuric acid, you have to heat it. I'll make use of 2 molecules of concentrated sulfuric acid. The product obtained would be in this case, SO3H group gets a priority over chloro group. That's why the carbon atom carrying SO3H group should be numbered 1. Then I'll start numbering either towards the right or towards the left. So this is the 2nd, 3rd and the 4th carbon atom. That's why IUPAC name of this compound is 4-chlorobenzene. SO3H group is called sulfonic acid. So IUPAC name of this compound is 4-chlorobenzene sulfonic acid, or I can also mention it as para-chlorobenzene sulfonic acid, which is the common name. Same way, the IUPAC name of this compound should be 2-chlorobenzene sulfonic acid, or it is also called orthochlorobenzene sulfonic acid. The 4th reaction under electrophilic substitution reaction we consider is Friedel-Crafts alkylation. Here again we start from chlorobenzene. 2 moles of chlorobenzene, I'll treat it with 2 moles of methyl chloride. The reaction has to be carried out in the presence of a Lewis acid like anhydrous aluminum chloride. As usual, I'll show the hydrogen atoms at ortho and para positions where the CH3 group gets introduced. Now to show the reaction, hydrogen from here and chlorine from here. Here again, hydrogen will go. The products obtained are this is what is called para-chlorotoluene. If you consider only this part, it's a toluene. In the para position, we have chloro group. That's why a common name of this compound is para-chlorotoluene. Or if I go for IUPAC name, I can say that it is a 4-chlorotoluene. What about the IUPAC name of this compound? So this will be carbon atom number 1. This is the second one. This is a 2-chlorotoluene. or it is also called orthotoluene. And as you are aware, para isomer is the major product. The last reaction under this heading is Friedel-Crafts acylation. The reaction is carried out with acetyl chloride reaction is carried out in the presence of Lewis acid, anhydrous aluminum chloride. The reaction takes place this way. From here hydrogen, from here Cl, here again hydrogen and Cl. I'll use 2 moles of acetyl chloride. So this COCH3 group, we call it as acetyl group, gets introduced on para and ortho position. The name of the product is, if suppose you do not consider chloro group, the name of this compound is acetophenone, and in acetophenone in para position we have chloro group. That's why name of this compound is, it's a para chloro acetophenone. This is a common name. I can also mention it as 4-chloroacetophenone. That can be the IUPAC name. And what about this? It has to be orthochloroacetophenone. Here again, the major product is the para isomer and ortho isomer is minor product. So altogether we have studied 5 reactions under aromatic electrophilic substitution reactions of chlorobenzene. The third type of reactions of haloarenes we consider are those reactions which are carried out with metals. Under that heading we will have 2 named reactions, and the first one is Wurtz-Fittig reaction. In Wurtz-Fittig reaction, we start from aryl halide is treated with an alkyl halide, and the reaction is carried out in the presence of sodium metal in dry ether as the solvent. The reaction is very similar to Wurtz reaction. 2 molecules of sodium halide is removed, and the major product obtained is alkyl arene. So starting substances in this reaction are, one is aryl halide, another one is alkyl halide. The reaction is carried out in presence of sodium metal in dry ether. The product formed is alkyl arene. Let's consider one example. Say I have chlorobenzene. I'll treat it with sodium metal and methyl chloride. The reaction is again carried out in presence of dry ether as a solvent. Two molecules of NaCl are formed and the product obtained is methyl benzene, or it is also called toluene. In this reaction, the starting substances are chlorobenzene and methyl chloride or chloromethane. Using this reaction, I can convert chlorobenzene into toluene. Imagine I want to convert bromobenzene into ethyl benzene. What I'll do, I'll treat bromobenzene with ethyl bromide. I'll get ethyl benzene and so on. So what about the side reactions that are possible? The competing reactions for this reaction are, one molecule of Rx can react with one more molecule of Rx under the reaction condition. We get higher alkane, or in other words, it's a Woods reaction. Similarly, one molecule of aryl halide can react with one more molecule of aryl halide, giving bi-aryl. The name of the reaction is Fittig reaction. So these two reactions, namely Woods reaction and Fittig reactions, are competing reactions with Woods-Fittig reaction. That's why generally whatever yield that you get, that of alkyl arene will be slightly lesser one. The next reaction we are going to consider is Fittig reaction. As I just now told you, here starting substance is haloarene. Two molecules of haloarene I will consider in presence of sodium metal in dry ether. The reaction takes place as I explained in the previous case. Two molecules of NaX will get removed. In addition to that, we get this compound. Two aryl groups are connected to one another. And the product obtained is called diaryl. This is the general name, diaryl. So starting substance is haloarene. We'll go for a specific example. Let us say I start from bromobenzene. Two moles of sodium atoms. Here again, I'll represent one more molecule of bromobenzene. And this compound has a specific name. We call it as biphenyl, or it is also called diphenyl. In other words, using Fittig reaction, we can convert bromobenzene into biphenyl. So this is the given problem. In this problem, we have to identify what are A, B, C, D and E. From the previous knowledge, whatever we have with the chemical properties of haloalkanes and haloarenes, we must be able to explain this reactions. This is a cyclohexyl bromide. I am going to treat it with magnesium in presence of dry ether. You know, this is the reaction for the preparation of Grignard reagent. And I told you, when you carry out this reaction, magnesium gets inserted in between the cyclohexane moiety and bromine atom. As a result, the compound A, what you get is nothing but cyclohexyl magnesium bromide. This is compound A. And this compound A, I am going to treat it with water. Or in other words, this is the Grignard reagent, which I will treat it with compound containing active hydrogen like water. How to guess the product? Simple. In the last class I told you, this carbon atom will have delta minus charge, magnesium will have delta plus charge, and in water, hydrogen will have delta plus, OH will have delta minus. So, the positive part of water, that is hydrogen, will replace this negative part, this positive part, MgBr. Or in other words, the compound that you get, in other words, it is nothing but B. So what should be B? It is cyclohexane. Right. Now, what I do is, I will start from RBr. I'll treat it with Mg. So what should be C? It should be RMgBr. And once you have RMgBr, I'm treating it with heavy water. In RMgBr, that MgBr part is replaced by deuterium of heavy water. Or in other words, what is this R group? This R group is CH3, CHCH3. Or in other words, R group is nothing but isopropyl group, where the branching is present on the second carbon atom. So once we analyze it like this, I can get back to what is RBr. So what should be R group? Just now I told you it should be isopropyl group. So I'll explain the reaction like this. It is isopropyl CH3 CHCH3, and here let us say I have bromide and I'm going to treat it with the magnesium. The product obtained is isopropyl magnesium bromide. And this isopropyl magnesium bromide, I'm going to treat it with heavy water. Already this carbon atom will have partial negative, magnesium will have partial positive, whereas the deuterium here will be the positive part and OD will be the negative part. So if you connect the opposite polarities, I'll get it as CH3, CHD and CH3. So from this, it's very clear what should be C. C has to be this. This has to be C. So I have identified C now. It is isopropyl magnesium bromide. Next, once I have identified compound C, then I have to identify D and E. For that, I'll start from R dash X and I'm going to subject it to Wood's reaction. And they have mentioned what would be the product of Wood's reaction. And under Wood's reaction, I had already told you from the product of Wood's reaction how to identify the starting alkyl halide. The product of Wood's reaction structure I'll write here. We have CH3 groups here. So I told you, when you know the product of Wood's reaction, I have to bisect it symmetrically. Let's say I'm going to bisect the molecule over here. So the group that we would get will be a tertiary butyl group. So in this case, it's very clear then, R dash group has to be a tertiary butyl group, and then you have a X group, so that can be anything. I'll represent it as CH3C, CH3X. So halogen atom is not specified. So what should be R dash X then? You know, R dash X should be this molecule, tertiary butyl halide. Now this tertiary butyl halide, I'm going to treat it with magnesium. I should get Grignard reagent, and the Grignard reagent would be tertiary butyl magnesium halide. In other words, this compound has to be D. So what is D? D is tertiary butyl magnesium halide. Now once I know D, the next thing is you are going to treat it with water. And you know what happens? This entire MgX group will be replaced by hydrogen. So the product obtained would be so this is compound E. So what is the name of compound E? You know, if you want to go for IUPAC name, if you take this as the parent hydrocarbon, it's a propane, and on the second carbon atom we have methyl group, so it has to be 2-methyl propane. So the final product E should be CH3CH, then CH3. Here we have CH3. The last part of this chapter is about polyhalogen compounds. We are going to consider somewhere around 5 to 6 important polyhalogen compounds. In this case, the uses etc. you can just go through, and the biological effect you can just read. It is non-evaluative, but whatever chemistry aspects are there, I am going to explain in detail. The first compound I am going to start with is dichloromethane. The formula is CH2Cl2. The common name of the compound is methylene chloride. This methylene chloride is used as a solvent, as a paint remover. You want to remove the paint, you can make use of dichloromethane. And this dichloromethane is used as a propellant in aerosols. And this dichloromethane is widely used in drug manufacture industry, where dichloromethane is used as solvent. The second compound we consider is chloroform is the common name. The formula is CHCl3 and the IUPAC name is trichloromethane. Earlier, this chloroform was used as anesthetic agent in surgery. But the problem was a longer duration required for recovery. That's why nowadays chloroform is replaced by other better anesthetic agents. And this chloroform is also widely used as solvent in organic synthesis. How do we store chloroform? If suppose chloroform is allowed to be in contact with air, it will undergo slow oxidation in the presence of light and it forms a highly poisonous gas. I'm going to represent it as COCl2. It is carbonyl chloride, which is also called phosgene. And in addition to that, we get HCl. And when we go to balance the equation, it is a 2 moles of CHCl3. We have O2. Here it has to be 2 moles of COCl2 and 2 moles of HCl. It's for this purpose when we store chloroform, the entire bottle must be completely filled with chloroform so that air cannot be present along with that. And since this reaction takes place in the presence of light, we have to store chloroform in dark colored bottles. And this particular bottle must be completely airtight. We'll consider 2 or 3 reactions which are important for your competitive examination. I'll start with chloroform and I'll treat it with silver powder. I'll consider 2 moles of chloroform treated with silver powder. So here 6 moles of silver. I'm going to get 6 moles of silver chloride, and what I get is acetylene as the major product, or we get ethyl. This reaction is not asked in the board examination, but in competitive examination this question is asked. The next one, I'll consider chloroform and I'm going to treat it with concentrated nitric acid. So for the sake of simplicity, let me write chloroform like Cl3CH. This is chloroform. I'll treat it with concentrated nitric acid. So hydrogen will go from chloroform and OH minus from nitric acid. So a molecule of water is removed and the product that we get will be Cl3CnO2. And the name of this compound is chloropicrin. And this chloropicrin is used as a tear gas. The next reaction we consider only for competitive examination is reaction between chloroform and acetone. So to arrive at the final product, let me write acetone like this. It is CH3COCH3, and we consider chloroform this way. I can treat it as if it's an addition reaction across carbon-oxygen double bond. You know, hydrogen gets attached to oxygen, double bond becomes single bond, and CCl3 gets attached to carbon. So the product obtained should be CH3COH. Of course, on the carbon atom you have a CH3 group, and here we have CCl3. And name of this compound is chloratone, and this chloratone is used as a hypnotic. The third polyhalogen compound we are going to consider is tetrachloromethane. There is a IUPAC name. Common name is carbon tetrachloride, and its formula is CCl4. Now, this CCl4 is used in the manufacture of refrigerants. It's also used as propellants in aerosol cans. And carbon tetrachloride is used as a general solvent. And because it has the highest chlorine content, this compound is highly non-inflammable. It's for that reason this is used as a fire extinguisher under the trade name pyrene. The next polyhalogen compound we consider is iodoform. Formula is CHI3, and the IUPAC name is triiodomethane. This was used as antiseptic, but it was later observed that antiseptic property is not because of CHI3, but it's because of iodine liberated from iodoform. And also, this triiodomethane has objectionable smell. That's why nowadays triiodomethane is not used as antiseptic. It is replaced by better ones. The next polyhalogen compound we are going to consider are freons. First, what are freons? Freons are nothing but chlorofluorocarbon compounds of methane and ethane. In other words, you will have a carbon, along with that we have chlorine and fluorine, and these compounds are derived either from methane or from ethane. The most commonly studied example under freon is freon 12. What is freon 12? It is a difluoromethane. It is derived from methane, where all the 4 hydrogen atoms are replaced by 2 chlorine atoms and 2 fluorine atoms. How do we prepare freon 12? The starting substance is carbon tetrachloride. Here, the 2 chloro groups must be simultaneously replaced by 2 fluorine atoms. For that, I will go for Schwarz reaction. You know, in Schwarz reaction, I can make use of different reagents like silver fluoride, mercurous fluoride, cobalt difluoride, or antimony trifluoride. But since we need to replace 2 chlorine atoms simultaneously by fluorine atoms, I can go only for antimony trifluoride or cobalt difluoride. I have written the equation here. With the antimony trifluoride, we get CF2Cl2. Along with that, we get antimony trichloride. And these freons are found to be extremely stable, or in other words, I can say they are highly unreactive. And they are non-toxic in nature. They do not corrode at all. But these freons can undergo liquefaction very easily. The problem with freons is it will produce free radicals, and these free radicals will initiate the process of ozone depletion in stratosphere. The last polyhalogen compound we consider is DDT. What is the long form of DDT? It is dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane. In other words, to indicate the position, with reference to this is the para position. So we say para, and with respect to this benzene ring, to distinguish it from the first one, I'll use para dash. So para dash dichloro diphenyl trichloro, and the parent hydrocarbon has only 2 carbon atoms. That's why it has to be ethane derivative. And this DDT is used as insecticide, and you know that nowadays many species of insecticide have developed resistance. And also this DDT is found to be a poison for aquatic life, especially the fish in the sea and the river. Yes, sir. Full life.